I've been working on another slow stitch scroll. Actually, I've been working on this one since January. Hello, it's so nice to see you here today. I hope you're doing really well and you're planning to do something nice for yourself today. I'm going out for dinner with my friend Patty, and then afterwards we're going to an arts and crafts social. I'm really looking forward to that. This one is evolving quite differently from my garden scroll that I made last year that so many people have been enjoying so much. This time, instead of starting at one end and working my way along, I've been jumping around. I've been doing this one as a make-along with a group of supporters on my Ko-fi channel, and I will leave a link for you if you're interested in joining in with us and making your own underwater scroll like this one. Each month I choose a theme and we create all kinds of different underwater elements based on that theme. In January we were making fishes and we made all kinds of big and small fish. And then we moved on to coral and we made a variety of different kinds of coral. We've made things in shells, we've made things with tentacles, we've made underwater plants. And this month we're working on a variety of seashells, seashells. And I've already put up a few of those videos. There are a couple of beds of mussels, and there's something called a nautilus. That's that spiral-shaped shell that you see there. And then we've come to the end. There's still some space. So I have plans to work on this monthly until the end of the year. So there's still plenty of time to join in with us. And as you can see, I've got a ways to go, and I'm probably going to actually even add in more space. And now we come to the shoreline and a few more seashells there. There's a little cluster of scallop shells before we get to the end. And I'd actually like to share with you today how I make the scallops. So this is an example of a scallop shell. It's got those little pointy bits at the bottom and a rounded top with some lines radiating towards the top. And I'm just going to make some tiny little scallops with some really simple stitches. So I'm going to start out with what's called a fly stitch. And this makes a really nice little right angle there if you pull it a little bit tight. I'm going to make two of those facing each other, pointing towards each other to make the little corners that you see at the bottom of the scallop shell. And then once I've made those two bits for the bottom of my scallop shell, I'm going to do another simple stitch that's called a chain stitch, and it's very similar to a fly stitch, but instead of those two legs being pulled apart, you go back into the cloth, the same place that you came out of the cloth. You bring up your needle inside the loop that's formed there. And now if you were going to make this into a regular chain stitch, you would take a little securing stitch like we did with the fly stitches, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going straight into something that's called a blanket stitch. That's another kind of stitch that you come up inside the loop. And if you can't see these very well, I will repeat these steps in a larger format so it's easier to see. So now I'm doing a row of these blanket stitches, varying the height. They get slightly taller and then they get slightly shorter to create kind of a rounded top there. There is a single little scallop, slightly imperfect, and that's quite all right. Here, let me show you again using thicker thread and a really big needle on the sheer fabric so I can get the really thick needle through it. Thanks, Joanne, for the fabric. So I'm going to come up on the surface of the fabric with my thread, and then I am going to go back in a little ways away from where I came up, and I'm going to come up in between those stitches, and then I'm going to secure that loop there. Normally with a fly stitch you might take a longer securing stitch, but I just want that securing stitch to be quite short. I don't need it to be long. And then I'm going to make a second stitch in the opposite direction attached at the bottom, so it's kind of making two little edges at the bottom there that you see in the scallop shell. That's what I'm forming here. And I'm going to again take a securing stitch there to secure that stitch up. And now I'm coming back near the top of that section there to do the top part of the shell. And so again, the first stitch I'm going to do here is going to be a chain stitch. It's a loop, and I'm going back in to the same place that I came out and coming up inside the loop. Pull that taut. Now, instead of either taking another securing stitch or continuing on with my chain stitch as you would normally would, I'm going straight into a blanket stitch, and a blanket stitch is another loop stitch. So I'm going back down to the same place, around the same place that as the bottom of my chain stitch, and I'm coming up inside the loop again. Do that again. Go back to the same spot at the bottom and then come up inside of the loop, fanning out a little bit so that I create the shape of the shell there. And I can do that as many times as I need. And I'm varying the height. So towards the middle of the shell, the stitches are higher up, and then towards the outside edges, they're smaller. And when it's wide enough, I just secure that last stitch off. Now let me show you another small version. Again, I'm going to make another one. I've got quite a little bed off these scallops here on my shoreline off my piece. So I'm making those 2 fly stitches at the bottom to form the bottom of my shell. And if you're enjoying this little peek of how I create these elements in my underwater garden here, and you'd like to join us, there's a small subscription fee that starts at about $3 a month. And if you join in now, you can go back and take a look at all the old videos that I've made since January. But I will warn you, there are quite a lot of them. And now I'm coming up to the top. And because I'm left-handed, I come up on the right-hand side and work towards the left. If it's more comfortable for you, you can do the first chain stitch on the left hand side and then work towards the right. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. It's just what's more comfortable for you. And that's it. That's how simple this is. And I hope to see you again either here on my YouTube channel, or I would love to have you join us on Ko-fi, and you can make your own scroll if you like. Now I'd like to leave you with a few other still photos of different parts of my scroll. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.